building confidence and credibility through transparency and professionalism. This is the Constabulary Communication Network, lifting our standards through communication.
With these motorbikes to the police stations in Orakopesa and Spring Hill, I believe, but Commissioner has the last word as to where they will go. These persons will be much more suitable equipped to effectively carry out their public safety role. Furthermore, as JCF continues its problem-solving and proactive policing approach in communities, the additional mobility will help to target the itinerant crimes such as robbery and house break-ins. And the aim is to curtail the rise of these criminal activities, especially in non-traditional crime areas. The motorbikes will enhance the ability of the police to respond quickly to calls from citizens as we continue to crack down on all forms of criminal activities, especially our street crimes that tend to generate fear among citizens. I'm sure that the officers who will use them will welcome the expansion of the fleet. These vehicles will supplement the foot patrols and increase the efficiency of street teams in apprehending offenders. So I charge the JCF and those who will use the vehicles, the bikes, in both stations with the responsibility of appropriate management to ensure that they are fully utilized for the purposes intended. And again, I just want to extend our thanks on behalf of the ministry to Stewart for the support in making these bikes available for public safety.
We are grateful this morning for the gift and for who it comes from. Stewart's Auto, represented here by a family. So this is not just a corporate thing that they're doing to gain publicity, but we take from the fact that the family is here, that clearly these are family values, and that the police and support of the police are high up on the agenda of that family. May I ask Mrs. Diana Stewart to come and bring a message to us?
Thank you, Angela. Commissioner of Police Owen Ellington, Permanent Secretary Ms. Dan McIntosh, Richard Stewart Chairman, Duncan Stewart Manager, Jacqueline Stewart Manager, Stewart's Automotive Group, other members, Cliff, members of the police force, media, guests, good morning. As you may know, Stewart's has had a long history of involvement and partnership with law enforcement in Jamaica. This deepened when we became involved through AmJam Jamaica in 2001 with community policing, which led to designing, funding, and building in 2005-2006 the Community Policing Center, a new Edna Manley Health Center in Grants Pen, known as AmJam Place. I'm particularly passionate about that project and fortunately had the opportunity of playing a major role in its establishment together with members of AmJam and the government of Jamaica, especially the Honorable P.J. Patterson, the Honorable Delroy Chuck, and the Honorable John Jr., and the then Commissioner of Police, Francis Forbes, who used to love to ride his motorbike around town at night. We have been involved with various branches of law enforcement, supplying and servicing vehicles, including cars, pickups, motorcycles, as well as crime scene ambulances and mobile police stations. Our activities as committed corporate citizens go back several decades and are a continuation of the relationships built at our original premises on Hanover Street with Lionel Stewart, my late father-in-law, who established Stewart's Auto Service and Repairs in 1938. I know this predates all of you, or most of you here, right? But it illustrates a long relationship and honors values which are important to all of us. Whilst at Hanover Street, we established an excellent relationship with our neighborhood, especially the Gold Street Police Station and the staff there. And I could regale you with many interesting stories resulting from our interfacing and partnering with them in an outreach program in those days. In more recent years, we've been able to assist that station as well as others, including some rural stations with acquiring vehicles and motorcycles. And in fact, we still have one motor vehicle outstanding for which we are waiting on the letter of permission to hand over. We are therefore not strangers to the police and wish to continue with our contribution to lowering of crime in our beloved Jamaica land we love. We are committed to the growth and prosperity of Jamaica, and it is therefore with pleasure that we are about to hand over these 4 Honda motorcycles. In the expectation that they will enable greater mobility in the tasks being undertaken, we are committed to continue working with the JCF and look forward to working in a long partnership with the JCF and the JDF to reach a goal set to remove crime and violence in Jamaica. It is my pleasure now to hand over to Mrs. Angela Patterson.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Stewart. And, I don't know if you've been looking at the program and you see the long lines of motorbikes there. We particularly use that image so that, we thank you for 4, but we could take 40, There is no doubt that the bikes are very badly needed. Did I see SSP Lewis here, who laments all the time about the shortage? So we are very, very grateful, and Commissioner will speak now to tell us how they will be used and the impact that it will have to the mobility of the force. Commissioner?
Thank you, Mrs. Patterson. To the Stewart's family, it's now very, very easy to introduce and to greet this family because of the long-standing relationship with the JCF and the support that you have given to us over the years. Senior colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, our friends from the media, it's not all bad news where crime is concerned. It has been in the public domain for some weeks now. In fact, since the start of the year, there has been expressions of concerns about an apparent spike in serious violent crimes. I just want to say to all of us that in terms of serious violent crimes, murders and shootings, at the end of February, we were 5.6% above last year. This is something that I think we can bring under control if we continue to do what we are doing with the kind of relentlessness that we have brought to bear on our job. Interestingly, whilst we have seen this marginal increase in shootings and murders, we are seeing at the same time a 39% drop in sexual assaults. That's rape and carnal abuse. 39% drop this year compared to last year. And if you look at crimes against property, we are seeing 226 less, or 20% less than last year when you look at the figures up to the end of February this year. So I'd like to appeal to all not just to focus too much on what is an apparent spike in some violent criminal activities. We have been able to attribute those to an intensification of gang conflicts. This is something that you can expect in any country that has the prevalence of criminal gangs that we have in Jamaica. The law enforcement response, I think, is appropriate because it is bringing the thing under control, and the policy response of the government is timely. We are expecting very shortly to get an anti-crime legislation, and the Honorable Minister has recently announced a task force which is going to be targeting the facilitators of serious violent crimes and organized crime. I think with those combinations of policies and the strategies that we are pursuing, we should see some positive response in short order. I cannot, though, not mention what appears to be growing intolerance among our population for high rates of crime, which is good, because previously it was thought that our population was normalizing violence and accepting it as part of their daily lives. Now we're seeing that there is growing intolerance and people are becoming accustomed to a more peaceful society. So whenever there's a spike in crime, questions are being asked, and rightfully so. It's our duty to respond to those questions, and I want to assure all of Jamaica that we are taking the matter seriously. We're doing all that we can, and we will deliver a safer Jamaica to all of you. And this brings me to the occasion that has brought us here, which is contribution again from the Stewart's family to force mobility. Of the murders that have been recorded since the start of the year, a sizable number have been attributed to murders committed in the course of robberies. That is, victims of robberies being killed by their attackers. One of the measures that we've put in place to curtail robberies in our communities is the quick response teams. These are bike patrolmen that do the plazas, the shopping centers, cash centers, markets, and the built-up areas. Whenever they are highly mobile and flexible, they can prevent many of these robberies, and they can also effect arrest immediately after the crimes. These 4 bikes are going to be deployed to assist in that effort. 2 of them will go to Halfway Tree, 2 will go downtown Kingston to assist with robbery prevention down there. You could not have chosen a better picture for the program, because it actually shows a whole line of very well equipped police bikes, which is the dream photograph anyway. But I'm sure we'll get there. We'll get there with the kind support of corporate citizens and families like the Stewarts. We'll get there with the support of the Ministry of National Security, which has created the kind of policy frameworks that allow for citizens to assist the police in a meaningful way, such as what is occurring here today. So let me, on behalf of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, thank you very much, the Stewart's family. Thank you very much, Permanent Secretary, for allowing us to accept these gifts. And let me give you our word that we will use them for protecting our citizens, reducing the crimes, and making Jamaica safer for business, even the sale of more motor vehicles. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and clearly we've said just enough words because the rain came and the rain stopped, and therefore we'll be allowed to go and take the photos necessary with the bikes. May I thank you all for sparing the time. Thank you to my friends from the media. We look forward to your continued support and coverage. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. May we just move to the field where we could have the handing over formally. Thank you.